Hello, everybody. Well, it looks like my co-facilitator is not here today, and I'm not sure why. So I may have to do this all by myself. um, but hey, you know what? I am actually sometimes wondering, can you tell me? Well, you can tell me because the ones of you that are here are obviously interested and you're watching. But I always wonder, what is that? There's some really cool information that Viv and I are giving about all kinds of things regarding animals, and we get like 15 views, 20 views, 30 views. And then, I post a video of me walking with my dog, and I say absolutely nothing, and I get 1,000 views. What is that? Can anyone tell me the secret to this? But in either case, so today's topic is how can I build confidence with my submissive animal? And for me, one of the things that we oftentimes do, which is sort of in our nature, is if someone is in distress and somebody's having a hard time, we want to console them. We want to kind of snuggle them. We want to tell them everything is going to be all right. We want to pet them. We want to love on them. But in the animal world, that is something that will actually encourage the already behavior that's there. So if you are basically cuddling the animal at this moment, you are letting it know that the behavior it's having is kind of okay, which is counterintuitive, which is the opposite of what it is that you want to actually create. So, and it's not that you have to be all tough and all that. That's not it either. But one thing is, being willing to be patient is a big thing. And so if you have a very submissive animal and you are planning to do something with them where you already know it's a problem, and here's Viv, and I already started talking.
I'm a problem because I was on Dane's 15 billion. You got this thing and completely forgotten. I went, oh, the live. I'll be submissive. Please forgive me, Susie.
Whip, whip, whip.
Hello, everybody.
So, yeah. Well, I already started chatting a little bit because I wasn't sure if you were coming or not. And, I just thought, hey, it's all right.
And as you can see, my studio is totally not set up. I haven't got my lights or anything. But anyway, here we are.
Here we are.
So what have you said already, Susie?
Well, basically, I just started to say that one of the things that we often do is we try to cuddle our animals when they're being afraid, and and that really gives a message that may not really work for the future of you or that animal. And that one of the things we often don't give ourselves is that patience or that space to really be present with them. And we know we have to do something with them, and then we try to make it happen, and then we move too fast, and so that doesn't help them either. And I know you are also an expert on playing with dogs that really have been actually probably damaged, you could say, in a way.
Yeah.
And then really kind of getting them to turn around and be friendly house pets. So what is your first go-to?
Yeah, and look, every single animal, like every single person, has a different way of functioning. We're not sure maybe what has actually created that submissiveness. Were they born like this? Was it something that happened in the litter? Is it a person that's created this? It's like, well, regardless of all of that, or the past or the history, it's like, what would you like to create? And you hear Susie and I repeatedly say, what can you be for this animal? So, number one is be with the animal right in front of you, and don't try and follow some textbook, this is how you should and shouldn't do something. It's if you get present with the animal and just observe, become familiar, watch, become more aware of the signals it's giving you, some of the messages it's showing you, whether it's body language. And this is where I love the tools of Access, the ability to ask the animal a question. What is it that I can be for you? that can contribute to this changing, and this is the weird thing, because some animals make choices or decisions that they're not prepared to change. And this was really shocking for me to begin with. I'm like, doesn't everybody want to be happy? Doesn't every animal want to be happy? And apparently not, and so this might sound a bit strange to some of you. It's like animals still do make choices, they still have their own free will in their own world. And sometimes, no matter what we do, they may not want to change that behavior. So my thing would be is have no expectation, have no projection that there's something wrong to begin with, have no expectation, and just what's actually truly possible for this animal, what's truly possible for their body, what's truly possible going forward, and just take your time to get familiar, I guess, or present, and observe and watch and become aware of, are there specific things that trigger that particular behavior? Are they only submissive in certain situations and not in others? So I think it's just, initially for me, it was, okay, how do I speed up the familiarity with this animal, without rushing everything? How do I become so present and so aware and just receive what it is that this animal is experiencing? And can I be something that can contribute to this changing? And even the changing, it's not, I've got this ideal picture of this looks perfect and it has to get to this point. The dog that I have right now, there's still things that she has 6 years after I've had her that she still has not been able to change. Gunshot, if she hears gunshot, she just absolutely shuts down. She disappears and shuts down. The other day, there was a car driving up and down the street where I'm staying at the moment that was backfiring just for some fun, and it traumatized her. She was gone for about 5 or 6 hours. I could not. She was so shut down, and I just was space. I didn't make a big deal about it. I didn't fuss over her. I just made sure that she had what she required to just be and not have any more, pressure applied to her to go, come on, let's shake yourself out of this and get out of it. It's like, okay, well, what can I be that will just be a presence for her to know that, this is how it is. Is there anything we can change? And if not, how can I create an environment where you can at least just be you for the time being? So, yeah, there was probably a lot in that conversation. So, yeah, that's what I would say. There's no one quick fix. There's no one answer. There's no one golden thing that's going to fix every situation for every animal, because they've all experienced something different. Yeah.
And, to all of what you said is really kind of the description of leadership the way that the animal world sees it, in a sense that if you are being that energy of a leader cares, but they don't necessarily cuddle, So the leader of the herd, if it's more important for the herd to move on, they will start to move on and leave someone behind too. So there is that which can be seen as cruel, but there's always sort of that sense of what actually works for the whole group. Of course, you don't have to do that as a person with your dog. You don't have to abandon your dog. But in those situations, what would you do if you were the leader? Not trying to necessarily cater to their behavior in a sense, but to really see like what can I be and do to get them out of this behavior? And what can I do to be trusting with them? And the thing is, it's so funny, like there are so many people that have so many points of views about all of this stuff. And I think that's why it's so important, like Liv said, you have to be willing to be just with that particular animal and not worry about what other people are saying or how somebody else has tackled this. Yes, you can try all these things that you can see or that people are suggesting, but please still know, this is going to be your path with that particular animal and yours alone. And so what is it that you can be for them, and what is it that brings them out of their shell? And I think you will start to learn that, and you can see what triggers the behavior, and so then you can avoid that behavior. For example, I've had this neighbor's dog hang out here for over a year now, and she still gets triggered when you bend down towards her. I mean, we have petted her so much already, and she comes with us on every walk, and she knows us, she knows our voices. We have never done anything to her. We have never, moved towards her and been mean or anything. And yet, every time you're bending forward towards her, she's like, you're going to kill me. So now we stop doing that.
Mhm.
We don't try to bend forward anymore towards her. We actually know now, like if we walk away from her, she starts following us, then we can reach down and pet her. Well, that works. And so if you do that repetitively, then the dog also gets that, oh, actually nothing ever happens. I keep doing this and nothing bad happens. And so, you start to really gain their trust. And I think that's the biggest thing, is to gain trust for an animal like that.
Yeah, and that's the big one. And for us to be in a space where we're not pandering or accidentally, even with the best of intentions, projecting an energy into that world animal that is conflictual. I see a lot of people going, "It's all right, Fluffy, it's okay, you're fine, it's okay." But that energy is not really contributory to what it is that you desire to have moving forward. And that's why I always say, what is it you would like to have? We know what's not working. We know what you're not happy with and what's going on, but head in the direction of what you desire to have. And so that requires, for us as carers or stewards with animals, we have to be willing to know the direction that we're heading in. A leader knows where they're going. They know with their self, this is the direction. So that, I guess, confidence in yourself, if you've got a submissive dog and you don't know what to do, yes, there's plenty of people you can talk to, and other, facilitators and books and methods and means and modalities. And at the end of the day, building that trust with your dog is something that is done with every interaction you have. Every time you feed your dog, every time you put the collar and lead on, every time you stroke your cat, or any interaction you have with your animal builds that relationship. So like you're saying, Susie, if you start to build a relationship based on trust, that's something that is so intimately and uniquely between you and the animal, which for me is one of the greatest gifts of having these animals around, especially ones that have been traumatized or abused. For me, it's there's a curiosity and an enthusiasm and a genuine joy of, how do I reach this animal, and how, what's truly possible here? And it's an adventure. It's an exploration. There's no end point. There's no destination we have to get to. And to not have that result in mind, to not trying to control the situation to make it look perfect. It is this moment by moment, day by day building of this trust. And
Yeah.
that's the thing that I love about all this.
And we've been talking a lot about, getting an animal that works for you, getting an animal that resonates with you. If you get a dog that is really submissive or shy or even afraid of everything, that's a project. And if you want to hang out with a dog that cuddles on the couch with you, please don't get that type of dog, because you're going to be frustrated every single solitary day that the dog is not going to just hop on the couch with you. And yes, a submissive dog can still hop on the couch with you, but please be aware that some of those animals that really have had a lot of trauma in their lives may not come up to the couch for a very long time. And are you up for the journey? And if you're not, then let someone else do this journey, and please, because this involves you too, your needs have to be met as well. And so make sure that you get your needs met, and whatever they are. And if you need a dog that's all schmoozy and happy-go-lucky, maybe get another dog, or don't pick a dog like a very fearful dog, because it's not going to be like that. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because I know some people that get very frustrated when their animal is not cuddly. Well, not all animals are going to be cuddly, and and you cannot make an animal cuddle with you that just doesn't want to cuddle. So,
Mm. Yeah, and the thing with the greyhounds that I've had, again, each one of them is so unique and so different and has had a different experience. And just like I was saying earlier, if you just observe and get to know that animal for a while, if you're coming into an animal's life that's older, not necessarily a puppy or a young dog that's had maybe a couple of years out in the world or whatever they've had, if you start to recognize there is a certain thing that really freaks them out, please don't keep putting them in that situation expecting a different result. Build confidence in areas where they're already relaxed, where they're starting to feel a bit more confident within themselves. Like meeting another dog can be very, if they haven't been socialized, that can be terrifying for a dog. You've got them on the end of the lead, for instance, and you're all happy and wanting to meet another dog, and yet you might be missing the cues that your animal is giving you, that it's terrifying it. So, be, like I said, observe, be honorable of them and respectful of, this is too much too soon. Where are the areas where this animal does feel okay? Where can we take this animal and start building that relationship and trust and bond there first? Start on on something that's a bit more easy for you, rather than go straight into the deep end and then slowly introduce or make steps towards. And like I say, I know with Bella, a friend of mine lives near a shooting range. I do my best not to have her with me because I know the shooting range is right there and I know it's not something that she can cope with. So I will find alternatives for her rather than avoiding it deliberately because I don't know how to deal with it. I've persisted with this for a number of years and realized this is not something that her body is able to change. Not that I've come across so far. So if anybody watching has got any suggestions, please feel free to contribute to my world. So yeah, start in an area that is, that your dog does have comfort or ease, or it's more relaxed if we're talking about a dog. Yeah.
yay.
That's a practical thing to do. I mean, it might sound really obvious to some people and might be like, oh, duh, but some people really don't have that level of awareness. Even just something like, I realized the other day, another friend's dog was having problems eating. And it was the noise of the food. When the dog dropped the food back in the bowl, it was the noise of the food drop, like the kibble, the biscuits dropping back into the bowl and echoing, was terrifying the dog. And she's like, I don't know why my dog doesn't want to eat. And I just sat and I said, show me what happens. And it was like, okay. Or the bowl was moving slightly and just that was upsetting the dog. And it's sometimes it can be something really tiny that may slip our awareness, that for a dog, it's a really big deal. So, and this is, again, the gift of awareness, the gift of just being the question. Okay, what is it? What's going on here? Can you show me, animal? Can you show me what this is?
Yep. And that's such an easy remedy once you know that,
Yeah.
That's an easy one to change. Yep. How fun.
So yeah, a plastic bowl and something on a solid surface, and this dog's no longer freaking out and avoiding feeding time, because that could have led on to many, many other issues with feeding and weight gain and all the other distress that could go on around the whole feeding system, the feeding time of day. So yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes it's just common sense, but common isn't so common these days. Did I say that out loud?
You did. Maybe that's why we don't get so many views,
Maybe it is.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Let's not get started on that. No. I started with that, actually. I was basically telling people, if you are still here, that is amazing, right? Because, I don't know. Have you ever heard about watch time? Hey, we're 19 minutes and 40 seconds in. If you're still watching, you're an absolute champ, You have really mastered attention span, that's amazing. So, and that helps us, our algorithm. No, I'm
Yes.
kidding. But I mean, to me, it is so funny. I literally will walk alongside my horses and just point the camera, and they get thousands of views and people that watch it for 20 minutes. And here we are with every week we're pouring out some what we think is really cool information. And we get like 10 views, 15 views, 2 shares, maybe, and I'm like, what is that? Hello, people. If you are still watching, tell us why you are still watching. Okay, please. Honestly, I want to know, why are you still here? Are you appreciating what we're saying? I would like to know.
Mm.
And if you're gone, you won't be able to answer me because you're already gone. So there you go. Well, Viv, I had to say it once, I'm over it now.
Hey, and it's a massive contribution to my world. So if you change one person's life, Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, if you change one person's life, you are a success. And Susie Godsey, you change my life every time I have a conversation with you. Every time I see you, my life changes.
Oh, thank you, Viv.
So we're a success, Susie Godsey.
We are a success. I love it.
Thank you, everybody. This has been an epic this episode again. Susie and I do try to aim for like 5 to 10 minutes, but hey, here we are.
21 minutes later. You're gone already. No, I'm kidding.
Thanks, everybody. See you next
Bye.
week.
Okay,
Bye.
bye everyone.